to Adding Decorators, Part 2. So in this lecture, I'm going to create a decorator for the pay method. I'm going to be answering two questions, which are what date the customer ordered, and is this a regular or new customer? So a folder for a text file. What I'd like you to do is create a folder in your desktop called customers, and also create a path variable. So we have a variable called path equal to C, users, your name, desktop, and then the customers folder. And what we're going to do is use a text file as a pseudo data frame to store information about our customers. So we'll just take a look at the desktop here. I've got a folder called customers, click inside of it, and then I have customer data.txt. So this is a file that's used as a data frame. So I have 4 customers here, and it's got the dates, the first name, the last name, and then the city, which is going to be the address. So we're not actually going to be doing a full address, just the cities. Okay, so what's the strategy here exactly? Well, a customer enters their first name, last name, and address, which is the city. The details are stored in a list. The customer details are then compared to our text file in the customers folder. If the customer details does not exist in our text file, the new customer gets 20% off their first order, otherwise they pay as normal. And then lastly, the new customer's details are stored in the text file, otherwise no change occurs. And what do we have to use exactly? Well, we'll have to use a while true loop. And because we're using that, you should avoid the empty list and append method, otherwise you might get an infinite loop. And answering the last question involves several list comprehensions. And the final list has a nested list of customers' first name, last name, and the address, which is the city. So you have fin as a variable of this list, which contains these 4 nested lists, which are our customers. So Alex Wilder Los Angeles is one customer, Chase Stein Los Angeles is another customer, and so on. And then lastly, use lower and upper string methods with free input methods. So what I'd like you to do is just pause the video and give this task a try. Well, good luck. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you're giving that a try. I'm now going to show you the solutions. And instead of actually creating the decorator method inside of the class delivery, I'm going to create it outside of it, and then I'm going to put it back into the class delivery. Okay, so what we need to do first is import a datetime module. So imports datetime as dt, and then dates equals dt.datetime now.strifetime, and I'm just going to put in the year, the month, and lastly the day. I'll do dates. As you can see, I have 2018, 0118, just like I had in the text file that you saw earlier. Okay, and then we'll have while true loop, and then we'll have first equals inputs, and this is going to be your first name dot lower, and last equals inputs, your last name dot lower, and then lastly address equals inputs, your city dot upper this time, and then dot replace with a hyphen. Okay, so you might be wondering why I'm putting the replace method here. Well, sometimes instead of it being a city of, let's say, London or Moscow, it might be something like New York with an empty space there, or maybe, let's say, Los Angeles. So it's not very usable or readable and causes some errors and problems that we want to avoid. So we can just make that as one string by putting the hyphen in between them. So that's the only reason I'm actually using that. Okay, and then we'll have customer equals our empty list of first, last, and address. So note I'm not using the append method here, otherwise we might potentially get an infinite loop. And then we'll have, let's say, print, and we'll do, let's say, times 15, just to make some space there, well 20 actually. And then we'll have print, thank you, your order will be delivered in 30 minutes. And then we'll have break. So break out of that, otherwise the while true loop will go on essentially forever. Okay, so we'll have, let's say, Carolina, Dean, and we'll have, let's say, New York. Okay, we'll just check. It's going to be customer. So Carolina, Dean, and New York, and note it's in capitals with the hyphen here. So it makes it easier for us to do an index of 2. Okay. So what I want to do is open up the text file. So I want to read it inside of the Jupyter Notebook. So I'll do with open. And actually before that, what I have to do is have the path variable. So path is c/user. So I've not defined this yet. It's going to be my name, desktop, then customers in uppercase, and then we'll have path and plus. So it's going to be customer data.txt. We'll have r for read as f, and then do data equals f.readLines. Run that, then data. So we get this list which contains all of these strings which are pretty unreadable at the moment. So we want to get rid of the /n first and foremost. So we'll do check equals, this is going to be our, let's say, we'll have that as join data. We'll do check at the moment. Okay, so what we want to do is have dot replace /n. Okay, that's not too bad, but I can also do the dot split. Okay, that's a lot more easier to use now. Okay, so moving on from that, I then want to have just the names and addresses. I don't want the dates here, so we'll have case equals, it's going to be our first list comprehension. So I for I in check if /not in I. Okay, there you go. So you've just got the names and the addresses. And then we want to just get the addresses, so just the cities rather. So lock equals case I for I in range len case if case index I equal to case index I dots upper. And then we'll have lock, so it's just going to give us the uppercase strings, which are the addresses. So the 3 Los Angeles and the 1 London. Similarly, we want the names as well of each of these customers. There's 4 customers that we have. And what I want to do is almost entirely the same. So case I for I in range len case if case I equal to case I, you can probably guess what it's going to be. It's going to be lower. And then we'll have names, and there you go. So you've got just the names of each of these 4 customers. So what I want now is these to be nested lists. So one for Nico Minora, which is one customer, then Gertz York, another customer, Chase Stein, another customer, and lastly Alex Wilder for another customer. Okay, so what I'm going to do is have nested names equals, it's probably going to be the most complex part of the list comprehension that you'll come across here, at least in this lecture. And this will be for I in range len names if I modulus 2 equal to 0. So nested names, and there you have it. Okay, so lastly I want to have the addresses associated with each of these nested customer names. So what we can do there is we'll have fin equal to nested and then I plus in square brackets lock I. So you might be wondering why I'm putting the square brackets around the lock. So you go lock here have it indexed by 0. I'm only getting just the string, and what I want is, if I have it like this, I can then add it to another list, which is a names list that we want to do. Okay, and then I'll have for I in range len nested names fin, and there you have it. Okay, great. So now what I want to do is with customer, I can do, say, we'll have if, so I'm going to do some control flow here. So customer, if customer in fin print regular customer, and we know that the customer Carolina is not in the fin list here, so it's going to be a new customer. So else we'll do print welcome new customer, and then we'll have print you have 20% off your first order. And then we'll do with, because we want to add her to our pseudo data frame in the form of a text file. So customer should be customer data.txt with a for the appends as f, and I'm going to make some lines here, and then if you hold the control then left tab, so that's 3 lines so far, 4, 5 and 6. I think there's 6 altogether, so f dot right, and then I have /n for all of them. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is have plus string date. So that's the date, not the data. And then I'll have here plus, it's going to be customer indexed by 0, and then plus customer by 1. So as you can see, this is going to be plus customer by 2. So 0 of course is going to be the first name, 1 is going to be the second name, and 2 is going to be the city or address. And that should be good to go actually. So if I just run this, we should have Carolina D. New York inside of our text file. So I run that. Welcome you customer, you have 20% off your first order. Alright, let's just take a look. Open this up. So now you can see at the bottom here I have the dates, Carolina D. New York. Alright, great. So what I want to do now is I'm going to copy everything here. I'm not going to cut it, I'm just going to copy it, just in case I make a mistake somewhere. And I have that slash in there, and I'm going to copy that and scroll up and paste here as well, copy, and then lastly with the while loop, I'm going to get rid of the break statement here. I'm not going to run the code though, so just make sure you don't run the code. Alright, I'm just going to then have the code here nested inside the while true loop. Just make sure that's in there properly. And also this as well. I'm going to get rid of these lines here, so I'm going to get rid of that, we don't need that. And here, and lastly these two here as well. Okay, so that's good to go. And just Control and A, then Control and C. So Control and A is just to select everything, and then Control and C is to copy everything. Alright, so I'm going to go up to my delivery class, and then I'm going to create a method here. So def, or for define rather, type details, and it's going to be self func, and then we'll do print, and it's going to be, let's say we have enter ring customer details before payments, and then we'll have def It's going to be customer details, args, quags. I'm just going to scroll down so I can see this all clearly. And then I'm going to do paste. I'm going to make sure this is nested inside of our customer details method. So I'll have to have that all selected. And then I'll hit tab, tab, and then tab one more time. So it's in line with the import date time module. Okay. And because I'm in the while true loop here, with all of this code, I have to put some break statements in it. So break statement here with the else, otherwise you need to have one here as well, just in case. And then we're going to do the pay method called inside of the customer details. So I'm going to have, let's say, dec2 equals func, and get rid of the date here, we don't need that. Get rid of this space here as well. Get rid of that space there, here. And then I'm going to have to look for where I'm going to put the function. So it's going to be the pay method. And I'm going to have this in the control flow. I'm going to have this here. So dec2, and I'll have dec2 here as well. And then I'm going to also do delivery dot service charge equals, so it's going to be 20% off, so we have to do 0.95. So remember, the service charge was originally 1.15, so this is 20% off, or well, kind of 20% off. And then we'll have it back to dot service charge of 1.15. Otherwise, it will still stay at 0.95. So we want to reset the value back to 1.15. And that should hopefully be good to go. I'm trying to think of anything else I need to add to this before I run the code. I think that's good to go. Oh yeah, there's one more thing I have to do, and that is just have the return of the customer details. So that's inside the class and inside the function, or method rather. Yep, that's fine. So return customer details. Alright, so that should hopefully be good to go. I'm going to make a comparison between using the type details decorator and not using it, just to make a comparison here. Alright, so I'm going to run this, and then we'll do the decorator 1 first. And also I'm going to just select this cell here, then press A to make a few cells so that we can have a bit more space here. Okay, and then I'll do decorator 1, and we'll have, let's say, free, 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 and free, and then 0. So 6.6 seconds. And I'll do d dots pay. So I've got $40.25. So let's do this with the decorator 2. So decor2 equals d.tab, and then you're going to do type details, and then d.pay. Run that, so entering customer details before payments, and hopefully we should have, instead of it 40.25, it's going to be a bit less than that, 20% less. So I have decor2, hopefully this is going to work. So it's going to be a new customer, so put in, let's not do my name, let's have Jeffrey Wilder, so that's Alex's father, and also Los Angeles, which makes sense. Angeles, if I spelled that correct? Yeah. Okay, so thank you, your order will be delivered in 30 minutes. Welcome, new customer, you have 20% off your first order, and that will be a total of $33.25, so it's discounted. And we've also included a free sweet corn soup. Alright, great. And we'll just take a look. Open up. And you can see that I've got Jeffrey Wilder Los Angeles in there. Brilliant. And let's try one more time. And instead of it being, let's just say we do Decorator again. We're going to put in Jeffrey Wilder Los Angeles. Instead of it being 3325, it should be 4025 because it's no longer a new customer. So put in Jeffrey again, Wilder, and it's going to be Los Angeles. So now it's 4025 as you can see here. And if I delete this, I shouldn't get any new customer added. I still just have the Jeffrey Wilder Los Angeles here. Alright, great. So that concludes my lecture on creating decorators and adding them to our classes. I hope that's been really insightful. And I'm thinking that you could probably come up with a few more decorators that maybe make this a bit more realistic. So for instance, instead of having, let's say, this print statement of thank you, your order will be delivered in 30 minutes, that's really not true though. It's just an assumption here. So you could actually just have, for instance, it might be an hour, it might be 2 hours, it might be 10 minutes, depending upon the distance of where your customer is located, and you could just estimate that. And also you could have like a radius of how far you travel. So if a customer is outside of a 10-mile radius, you could say to your customer, sorry, we can't send the delivery to that particular address. It's too far outside of our radius. And if it's inside the radius, then you can estimate how long it will take to be to the customer, how long it's going to be till it's delivered. And the same also applies with the dishes themselves. So some of the dishes might take 20 minutes to make, some of them might take 10 minutes to make, some of them might take just a minute to make. And you can add that together. Alright, so that is the end of my lecture. Thank you very much.